Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac. With these words, a new section begins. The Toledot, the generation formula, signals a shift in Genesis. We're moving from Abraham's story to Isaac's story. Except Isaac's story will quickly become Jacob's story. Isaac is the transitional figure, the quiet patriarch, the one sandwiched between the two giants, Abraham the pioneer and Jacob the wrestler. Isaac's chapter is brief. His sons take over almost immediately. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to be his wife. 40 years old. He waited. Whether by choice or circumstance, Isaac didn't marry young. And the woman he married came from far away, chosen by providence, identified by camels. Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean. The narrator emphasizes her family. Aramean, Padan Aram, Laban. These names will matter later. This is a foreshadowing. Jacob will return to this family, work for this Laban, and marry into this complicated household. But that's future. For now, Isaac and Rebekah are newlyweds, and they have a problem. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And there it is again, barren. Sarah was barren, now Rebekah is barren. The pattern repeats. The covenant family can't seem to produce children naturally. Every generation requires divine intervention. This isn't coincidence, it's theology. God wants it clear. These children are gifts, not achievements. The nation that comes from Abraham isn't built on human fertility, it's built on divine promise. And Isaac prayed. This is one of the few things we see Isaac do actively. He's often passive in the narrative, bound on the altar, waiting for a wife, deceived by his sons. But here he prays. He intercedes for Rebekah. He brings the barrenness to God. For 20 years he prays. The text will tell us he was 60 when the twins were born. That's 2 decades of waiting, asking, and hoping. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. The barren womb opens. The promise continues. But something strange happens immediately. The children struggled together within her. The Hebrew word means they crushed each other. They jostled violently. This isn't normal fetal movement. This is combat. War in the womb. Rebekah feels it. Something is wrong. Or at least something is intense. And she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" Her question is actually difficult to translate. Some versions render it, "Why do I exist?" or "What's the point of living?" The pregnancy is so violent, so troubling, that Rebekah questions whether she can endure it. This isn't morning sickness. This is existential crisis triggered by what's happening inside of her. And so she seeks God. Just as Isaac prayed, now Rebekah inquires. The couple brings their struggles to the Lord. They don't just suffer in silence. And God answers. But the answer doesn't make things easier. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. There are 4 lines of prophecy here, and each one is loaded. 2 nations are in your womb. Not just 2 babies, 2 nations. Israel and Edom. Jacob's descendants and Esau's descendants. What's happening in Rebekah's body will shape geopolitics for centuries. The struggling isn't just sibling rivalry, it's the birth pangs of people. 2 peoples from which you shall be divided. Division is coming. These brothers will not be close. They'll separate, form distinct nations, become rivals. The violence in the womb predicts violence in history. The one shall be stronger than the other. You see, the inequality is baked in. One nation will dominate, one will be weaker. They will not be equals. And there it is. The older shall serve the younger. This is the bombshell. The natural order is reversed. In the ancient world, the firstborn had rights, privileges, and authority. The older son inherited, the older son led. But God says, not this time. The younger will rule, the older will serve. This isn't how things are supposed to work, but God doesn't follow human conventions. He chooses the younger, Abel, over Cain. He chose Isaac over Ishmael, and now Jacob over Esau. Later, Judah and Joseph over his brothers. David is the youngest son. God delights in overturning expectations. When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. Now the struggle finally ends. The babies emerge, and they couldn't be more different. The first came out red, all of his body like a hairy cloak, and so they called his name Esau. He is red and hairy like a little animal, covered in fur from birth. The name Esau sounds like the Hebrew word for hairy. He's named for his appearance, the rough, red, wild-looking baby. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Even in birth, Jacob is grasping. He emerges gripping his brother's heel as if trying to pull him back, trying to get ahead, trying to be the first even though he's the second. The name Jacob, or Yaakov in Hebrew, means he grasps the heel, or more figuratively, he deceives or supplants. The name is a prediction. This boy will grab what isn't his. He'll trip people up. He'll scheme his way to the top. His name is his destiny, and it's not flattering. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. 20 years of prayer, 20 years of waiting, and finally, twins. 2 nations, 2 futures already fighting. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a quiet man dwelling in tents. The contrast deepens here. Esau is an outdoorsman, a hunter, rugged, a man of the field. He's out chasing game, living by his skill, bringing home meat. Think rough hands, weather-beaten skin, and the smell of wilderness. Jacob is quiet, domestic, a tent dweller. The Hebrew word for quiet can also mean complete or blameless. Jacob stays at home. He's the indoor kid, the thinker, the planner. Neither description is morally loaded yet. They're just different. One son hunts and one son thinks. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And this is where the tragedy is. The parents play favorites. Isaac loves Esau because of the food. Rebekah loves Jacob for reasons unstated, but perhaps she remembers the oracle. The older shall serve the younger. Maybe she's backing the winner. The truth is, favoritism poisons families. What's about to happen in Genesis 27, the stolen blessing, the deception, the broken family, it has its roots right here. Isaac loved Esau, Rebekah loved Jacob. Divided parents, divided sons, division all the way down. Once, when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and he was exhausted. Here, the scene shifts to Jacob cooking, and Esau stumbles in, famished from hunting. He's done, he's spent, he's running on empty, and he smells the stew. Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of the red stew, for I am exhausted." The Hebrew emphasizes the color. That red stuff is what Esau literally says. He's so hungry he can barely form sentences. Just red, want, now. Therefore his name was called Edom. Edom means red. Esau became the father of the Edomites, the red people named for this moment. His entire national identity traces back to a bowl of lentils. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." He sees opportunity. His brother is desperate. The birthright is valuable, the double portion of inheritance, the family leadership, the covenant blessing, and Jacob wants it. Sell me your birthright now. Not later, not when you've thought about it. Now, while you're weak, while you're hungry, while you can't think straight. This is who Jacob is. The heel grabber, the opportunist, the schemer who waits for the right moment to take what he wants. Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Esau's response reveals everything. He's not actually dying, he's hungry. But in his mind, the immediate need obliterates the long-term value. What good is a birthright if I'm dead? What good is future blessing if I'm starving now? This is short-term thinking at its most destructive. Esau trades the permanent for the temporary, the significant for the immediate, the eternal for the edible. Jacob said, "Swear to me now." He locks it down. He wants it legal. He wants it binding, unbreakable. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. It's a done deal now. The deal has been made. The birthright has changed hands for a bowl of stew. And then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went on his way. The transaction is complete. Esau eats, drinks, gets up, and leaves. No second thoughts, no regret, no pause to consider what just happened. He ate and drank and rose and went his way. The verbs pile up quick, thoughtless. It's now done. Thus Esau despised his birthright. This is the narrator's verdict. This isn't neutral description. This is moral evaluation. That word despised is loaded. It means to be treated as worthless or held in contempt. The birthright connected Esau to Abraham's covenant, to God's promises to the future of redemption, and he sold it for soup. Hebrews 12 will call Esau unholy and profane, someone who couldn't see the sacred because he was blinded by the immediate. What does this passage teach us? First, God's choices don't follow human logic. The older serves the younger. The natural order is reversed. God chooses Jacob, the schemer, the deceiver, over Esau, the firstborn. This isn't because Jacob is more righteous, hardly. It's because God is sovereign. He chooses whom he chooses, and he often chooses the unlikely. Second, we learn that character is revealed in crisis. When Esau was exhausted, his true values surfaced. He didn't care about the birthright. He cared about his stomach. What do you reach for when you're depleted? What do you trade away when you're desperate? You see, crisis reveals priority. Third, we learn that short-term thinking destroys long-term blessing. Esau couldn't see past his hunger. The stew was immediate. The birthright was abstract. So he traded the future for the present. We do this constantly. We sacrifice health for comfort, relationships for convenience. We sacrifice calling for security. We despise our birthrights one bowl at a time. Fourth, we learn that favoritism fractures families. Isaac loved Esau and Rebekah loved Jacob, and that sentence explains almost everything that goes wrong in the next few chapters. When parents pick sides, children become rivals. The competition that started in the room gets fuel from the parents' preferences. So here's what Genesis 25, verses 19 through 34, would have us savor today. If you're the unlucky one, the younger, the overlooked, the one who doesn't fit the expected mold, this passage says God might choose you anyway. His ways aren't your ways. The older sometimes serves the younger. If you're facing a moment of desperation, hungry, tired, desperate for relief, this passage says be careful what you trade. The stew isn't worth the birthright. The immediate isn't worth the eternal. And if you've already made the trade, if you've despised something sacred for something temporary, this passage says you're not alone. Esau did it. But the story doesn't end here. There's still grace. There's still Jacob wrestling with God, getting renamed and becoming Israel. Even heel grabbers can be transformed. Two nations in the womb, the older shall serve the younger. One bowl of red stew, one birthright sold. Thus Esau despised his birthright. And Jacob's story was just beginning. Next time on Eat This Book, a famine hits the land, and Isaac faces the same test his father once did. Same place, same fear, even the same lie. But this time the story unfolds a little differently. Join me in Genesis 26 as wells are contested, blessings multiply, and we see just how easily the sins of one generation become the habits of the next. Thanks for eating with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.